stand by, ladies and gentlemen, because
Keith,
the time of the
listen
day
up.
is
Keith, you're
for the old school tip of the day.
All right, Keith, what do you got for us?
Okay. All right, here's my old school tip of the day. It's actually 3 quick ones.
Go.
Number one, I always used to come in and look at the crew that was working at both the engine and the truck. And, of course, they were all good guys. And I knew that I can extend myself because 59 had the line, and the guys in the truck were always going to be in position. And number two, when you go to the roof with a saw, bring a flathead axe with you that's sharpened, because if anything happens to that saw, you don't want anybody to complete your hole. You want to cut that hole with the roof and open it. And number three is, in the truck, complete destruction in every position is the key.
Wow, dude, that might be the best one ever.
Big tool, big power.
Love that.
We like to call it the old school tip of the day with Tony Buckrop.
Well, I got a couple of them, and then one of them was check your tools every morning, your tank, everything on that rig that you're going to be on. Check it, double check it, and know how to use it, but don't just know how to use it. Go out and practice with it. There's plenty of vacant buildings or somewhere where you can practice. I used to get I would take a big log in the back of the firehouse, and I would practice chopping right-handed, left-handed, sitting down, standing up. I mean, just work on that. It really makes a difference when you're on a peaked roof and when you have to change hands, and take care of the tools. I mean, keep them oiled, keep them well sharpened, and for God's sakes, tag them so the other companies don't steal them.
Never heard anything like that ever happen.
No. Firemen don't steal things.
No.
Borrow them.
They borrow.
That could be the best tip of the day.
And they've never, ever taken a free thing. I don't ever know a fireman who's taken a free thing.
And with the way things are going in the world with everybody, and it's all negative and so much hate, and we as firemen and retired firemen, we have to stick together with that brotherhood. If you have a beef with somebody, talk to them like men, get it straightened out. Life is too short for that kind of stuff. And firemen to me have always been my heroes, no matter what. And it's a difficult, dangerous job, and we need to stick together. And I always told my guys, if a fireman comes in from out of town or somewhere, I don't care if he's paid or volunteer, you treat him like he's at home. Extend a welcome. If they need a place to sleep, he can sleep here. If he needs he needs something to eat, we'll feed him. A cup of coffee, whatever. That's the brotherhood. We have to keep it going. You young guys, I've gone into firehouses where they wouldn't even give you the time of day. They wouldn't ask, for a cup of coffee. Right. Knowing you were a fireman.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And then it sickens me. But and then I'm against cubicles in firehouses, sleeping in cubicles and having your own little rooms and shit. That way, there's no.
We don't have that.
But the newer fire department is.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I got you.
But I always like to be there and eat dinner with each other and watch TV with each other, and it's a bond. You got to form a bond.
Yeah. No, that's where the bond comes
from. To me, there's no other bond like it.
Yeah, man. That's what this podcast is all about, bro.
Yeah, a guy would risk his life for another guy.
The old school tip of the day.
Do it, Chief. What do you got for us?
Okay, it's maybe not a tip for like an individual, but just a pet peeve I've noticed over the years, especially on our job, we were getting away from it, is use of tower ladders. I mean, when we're putting the tower ladder to work, we're kind of going, I guess, defensive. We're out of the building. I get it. Not that the party's over, but it drives me crazy to see a tower ladder like up above the roof line, shooting water down, or the taxpayer fire up above the roof line. We really need to get the the bucket, like I said, like at a taxpayer, down on the sidewalk, elevate that stream so it rips into the cockloft, so you're doing some damage into the cockloft, getting some water where the fire is. Same thing like in a multiple dwelling. If you're going to be operating the tower ladder, make sure you get the bucket low into the window, get that stream up there. And I mean, have fun with that nozzle. Make like you're the nozzle man. Whip it around. You know, stream is not supposed to stay in one spot. You know, even though it's a tower ladder operation, you can be somewhat aggressive with it. I mean, you know, I'm not talking about doing this, you know, 5 hours into the fire where we're worried about collapse and setting up a collapse zone. But early on, it drives me crazy to see the bucket, you know, 50 feet over the roof line at a one-story taxpayer.
Oh, that somebody just cut.
Yeah, I mean, the roof is doing its job. It's keeping the water out of the building. You know, that's not what we want. We want to put water in the building. I mean, unless things have changed since I retired. So.
Oh, I know.
What time is it?
Well, some might call it time for the old school tip of the day.
All right.
It's all yours.
Pet peeve, first of all, as a fireman, I'm not critiquing anything from FDNY, but being the crazy buff that I am, I do like to watch a lot of the fire videos, you know, like I think a lot of people do. So the first one is an engine tip. And I see this all the time. The first thing to do is get the first line into operation. Before you start doing anything else, running hose here, get water on the fire, get the first line of operation. And your nozzle should be an open bore nozzle. If you're doing structure firefighting, you should have an open bore nozzle. You have any of those adjustable nozzles, take them home and put them on a shelf or use them for something else. But if you're going to do a structure fire, you should have an open bore nozzle and learn to control the stretch. If you take the hose out and you dump it back like a pile of spaghetti, you're not controlling your stretch. If you're running up at the front door with just the nozzle tip and no line behind you, you're not stretching properly. There are all types of stretches to do for if it's a single man operation or second 2 or 3 men or 4 men on a line. There's certain ways to stretch, but if you're at the front door with just the tip, you're not stretching the line properly. The other thing I think is very important is know when to deploy a 2.5 line, a 2.5. Many guys come off with an 1 3/4 or 1.5 inch, and the fire is beyond that scope. A good 2.5 knockdown will do, you know, for advanced fire, a large uncompartmented area. Don't wait for a chief or somebody to tell you to bring the 2.5. You should have it in your standard operating procedures and guidelines on when that has to be deployed. Accordingly, with the deck gun, if you talk about manpower issues, everybody's talking about manpower. Use that deck gun. That gun blows out a whole lot of fire. And time it. See how long it takes you before you empty the tank. If you go running, 3, 4, 5, or 6 minutes, depending on your booster tank capacity, that's a long time putting water on a fire, and you'll be surprised how much you can put out with that. Okay, that's my engine tip. Another one is a truck tip. The overemphasis on getting the roof. I can tell you, on a private dwelling, you got single floor fire. Guys are going up and they're cutting the roof. There's plenty of windows. Look at the windows. Cape Cod houses. The windows on the side are usually intact when guys are going up on peak roofs, which are so dangerous. If you really want to get something, pull from underneath. Go underneath and pull the ceilings down. More hooks make the job easier and expose a whole lot quicker than anything else like that, you know? And cutting, when you're cutting, a cutting roof, like the trenches, when you cut in a trench, there's more than just cutting the trenches. You have to pull the ceilings downstairs. There's a whole concept of that. In the FDNY, the reason why we had to get the roof is, first of all, we're getting there at the same time as the engine, and the fire is on usually flat roofs that we have row frames and brownstones and H-types in the Bronx. And it was important to get up there because the fire is mushrooming at that point, or if it gets up in the attic. When we cut the roofs, we cut a big hole in the roof to start venting it. That's an offensive, where a trench is a defensive operation. You know, you're just trying to get a hold of that. But the overemphasis, especially in places that have minimal manpower, take the windows out. You know, work with the windows. Do that first. And if the fire is knocked down, if there's no visible fire and most of the smoke is gone, there's not time to cut the roof. There's always some guy, right? There's always some guy coming in.
One guy. I'll get a picture. There's 7 guys cutting a roof. That's my biggest pet peeve. 7 guys cutting the roof. There's
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
All of our emphasis.
It's a
Talking about manpower issues. Here you go. More hooks. Take more hooks.
Get inside. Pull the ceiling. What are you doing?
How you feeling? Get in there.
Want to get roofie crazy? Show a picture of a guy on a peak roof. You got no business being out there.
It's not
That'll
one.
make you crazy too, Kev.
There's 7 guys on the roof. I don't even know where anybody is. All the windows are intact, like you said. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
So it's the overemphasis because we always say, right, and when in probably in FDNY training school, right, the emphasis was get the roof. If they're throwing babies off the balcony, you still have to get the roof.
Child deter the roof, man.
Right, nothing will deter the roof, man. But that is that type of buildings, the roll frames and H's that we're talking about. We're not talking about
everything.
Right, we're not talking about Cape Cods or these other type of new construction places like that. So you got to that whole emphasis needs to be reevaluated as far as the purpose of getting the roof. You know, venting the smoke and fire. If you got a peak roof and you cut a hole in it, what are you doing? You're venting the attic.
The attic.
I don't. I think I should have known.
Hey, I'm trying. Here's me trying to get Lou crazy right here.
That's crazy.
It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the old school tip of the day.
Okay.
Starring Tommy Norton Burke.
Do it, kid.
I have I got 1 or 2 here. So my first one, I think it's very important that all guys in engines and trucks carry a knife. Okay, the knife is one of our greatest tools, and you use it many times at fires and in our job. So the five most reasons you should carry a knife is cut seat belts from car fires. How many times people cut locked in seat belts? Okay, cut clotheslines on fire escapes. Cut the, when you're in a project fire and the cable lines all melt, you can cut them right so you can get through so they don't tangle up your neck and your gear. The melted wires. Cut down hanging persons because someone's got to cut the line to get them down, and then for protection. The last one is size up. Well, what I mean by size up is if you're in a job and things don't feel right, your gut feeling is usually the right first feeling that you're experiencing. Okay, say your ears are starting to feel the heat and stuff, or the fire's really moving too fast, and it's like it's gonna get to you way fast. You know that you got your senses, you got smell, you got touch, you got sight, you got all of these senses. Your first gut feeling of something, if it's wrong, you got to get the hell out of there and don't feel bad about getting out of there. You got to protect yourself and be smart. And that's about it, guys. Then just switch over.